Lori Burris, good to see you again. Always a pleasure to be working with you. I know that you've been all over the map during the pandemic in terms of working with students in academic settings as well as lifelong learners at LinkedIn. So let us start off putting yourself, as we've done with all the interviews so far, put yourself please back in your frame of mind, March 2020, when that awful moment came when, for at least in the academic setting, what had been for many people all on-site learning suddenly went online. And then let's circle around and see what kind of impact that had on lifelong learning with USC, where you're also teaching.
For me, it was sort of a mixed actual thing. I have been working from home in a kind of a hybrid style with LinkedIn Learning for the last 5 years. So we do a lot of our work already inside the company, using Zoom and other video things, WebEx and Microsoft Teams. So I was very comfortable with that, but I realized in my role at LinkedIn that teachers were not. And when we did that in 2 weeks, got 100% of all universities and colleges online, I did a lot, I was going to say tons, but I did a lot of workshops.
On the issue of burnout, let's look at this from two perspectives and start with your own. What do you personally do to avoid burnout in your learning situations?
Well, one of the things I decided to do in COVID during isolation, because I think it was for me a control issue. I love to have control, that I would exercise. And I found that as I told you, I'm already completely familiar with doing videos online. And my daughter found this Pilates teacher that she really liked, and I really liked her. And she every week gives out 5 different lessons to do and puts 2 new ones up and 2 live ones. So if you want to talk to her live, you can have a live experience 2 times a week. And, I call her Leah. I mean, I feel like I know her. She came to LA to do a live class in August. I signed up. I mean, I think one of the things that you can do is you can build relationships in an online experience and a community. Obviously, Leah's target audience with my daughter's age, 28 to 38, but there were a lot of us that were over 50. And she set up different group chats and different communities so that we could all talk. And just her being totally willing to be available online twice a week before and after class to ask any questions. That's way above and beyond what most teachers would do in an online experience. So that was that. And then I walk my dogs 3 miles a week, 3 miles a day. But I do find, for instance, I just took a 3-mile hike before this interview. And then I just kind of cleared my head and thought about, what could I say to Paul about what my experience, just kind of reflect, just taking that time to reflect, and then noticing the weather and noticing the smell. And I walk the same walks all the time. So I am really, really careful, everyone out there, that if I am working on a big, long day, doing 5 Zooms or 4 Zooms a day or a long teaching day, that I do break every 2 hours for myself. And my dogs will remind me because we're on the schedule and they're very reliable on schedules. But I also do it in my classes. For instance, most of my classes at USC are 3 hours long. And I make sure that every 50 minutes we take a break.
There's a possibility here of overlooking something that's really important. And that's what you just pointed out, the necessity to be expansive, to be creative, to get ourselves out of these spaces at a time when so many people are still feeling isolated, feeling afraid to be around people, and not understanding what you've talked so eloquently about up to this point in the interview, creating a sense of collaboration online and forgetting the idea that it's online. The tool disappears and we're talking, we're communicating. I just got to say it. I want to be in your class. So there.
Right. And
sign up for it.
And teachers, we know from neuroscience, because I'm a big neuroscience person and I'm a fangirl of Barbara Oakley, if you haven't read her books or watched her course on Coursera. And
slow down, say the name again so other people can get it.
Barbara Oakley, Oakley, and she has the most popular course on Coursera, which is called Learning How to Learn. And she's done all this work about neuroscience and neurodiversity, as opposed to labeling people with ADHD or slow learners or fast learners, just so much more material. But one of the things you can do, it's just like exercise. Learning is kind of a brain exercise, right? Think of it as a brain exercise. So when I first started walking, I was a mental mess during my divorce. I only walked maybe 2, maybe 3 times, and maybe only for 15, 20 minutes. Now I'm telling you, I walk 5 to 7 days a week, a good hour, right? And when we're on vacations, I'm hiking those mountains. I've been to Machu Picchu. I just did Mont Tremblant this summer in Canada. I've done Mount Baldy. I mean, what I'm letting you know is now it's in me. What we found is if you get into a habit and it's now a reward, not a habit, not a forced thing, your day, you can't live without it. So I made the first 3 weeks, everyone had to share something either online or if we had a face-to-face thing, show me something at the end of that experience outdoors. By the 4th week, one of the girls came in the class and said, I'd like to show the class what I did last week. I did not ask that girl to volunteer to do that. And somebody says, I've done something I'd like to show. And somebody else said, I really could use some feedback. I feel like I'm sort of stuck right here. See what that mental exercise did. And also it felt, one of the things that I didn't mention is that we as teachers must create safe, trusted environments. It's okay to fail. It's okay to share. It's okay to be your authentic self, not the self that has to fit in so that no one notices you. It's really complicated, this diversity, inclusion, belonging. A lot of our students that are of other color, other sexual identity, they close themselves down to sort of be chameleons to fit in. And what we should do is let those stories come forward, because it's part of that expansion. It's that part of that seeing the world from a different point of view. It's like T.S. Eliot said, see it for the first time. And when you have someone in your class tell you that story, we're all like, we're on the edges of our seat. And you don't have to fit in and be like all the other white kids who've been to college before. If students are presenting and I hear the student go, oh, wow, yeah, good things are going on. Breath means a positive thing. You're not always going to hear, how did they do that? I want to do it. Listen to the breath of your class. Listen on Zoom. Is it dead silent? Are they breathing? Are they, whoa, wow, neat, keen. Look, that's a breath. If it's this, it's all where? Inside the chest. Notice how you can tell just by the screen, right? Breath in. So I'm asking you on your little postage stamps, if you're in Zoom or if you're in the classroom, it's super easy to hear. It's an audible understanding of where the class is at in terms of engagement. Listen to breath. It's my secret weapon. And I was late to the game. I didn't discover it until I was about 65, 5 years ago.
Wonderful. Last obvious question. You've pretty much done a great job of this already, but I don't want to miss a chance to say any wrap up you want to do for people.
You know what? I love teaching. And I was just in my first orientation at USC on last Thursday. And I thought, oh, I haven't missed teaching at all. I haven't even thought about it all summer long. And I got on the campus and I went to the first meeting and the first faculty meeting. And you know what? I thought, there's something about starting a new school year. It's just like, it's like a baptism or a clean slate or, like a fresh start, right? Like a whole new set of people to talk to, a whole new set of people to learn from. One of my first teachers says, I teach because I want to learn. I learn from my students. Don't forget that, guys. Don't forget why you're there. It will make you a better expert. It will make you a better person. And it won't be about dirty dishes or who did what, or did the trash get taken out, or did the school kids get to school on time. I'll give you one last story because I like to tell a story. My son and daughter both went to very elite, great private schools in Pasadena. And one day as I was coming to pick them up, I heard my son saying, my mom teaches at Pasadena City College. It's a community college. And all of her students go on to be great human beings with great jobs, doing wonderful things here in LA. Don't say that ever, that people that go to Pasadena City College are stupid. And that's my rule. There are no stupid students. There's a lot of students with very bad time management skills. And this is a very complex world we live in. So we should always be empathetic to that whole person that's presenting itself to us, not just the picture snapshot we get for the 45 minutes in that classroom. Take that time to think what it's like to be in their shoes. Thank you all.